Well, it's a long time since I've done a broadcast or a podcast or whatever you like to call it. And there are reasons for that. But now I feel I must, with the Gaza War ongoing as it is. What to say about this terrible situation? I find the kind of tit-for-tat media coverage that barely scrapes at the truth distressing. There are fundamentals here. Israel was hit by a Hamas attack in which other groups like Islamic Jihad and others, including the People's Front for the Liberation of Palestine and so forth, piggybacked, and there was significant killing of Israel's civilians during that attack. Israel has responded with enormous force, resulting in tremendous destruction and death in Gaza. And the Israeli press and news media, much like press and news media everywhere, are part of the establishment. And therefore, what Israeli citizens see is not the full horror of the war, and they are completely behind their government, by and large, in regard to this, what would you call it, counteroffensive? And that said, Benjamin Netanyahu is hugely unpopular, which is why he is incautious in making strikes into Syria and Lebanon. To my certain knowledge, Aleppo and Damascus airports have each been hit 3 times in pointless, futile attacks. But then Iran has been extremely restrained. Iran had no foreknowledge of the Hamas action. Iran has been extremely restrained, as has its proxy, Hezbollah, at Iran's behest. But Netanyahu pushes the envelope as much as he dares, because I think he would almost like an existential war, wider war, though he'll never say that publicly. He would almost like that because it would give him justification, I suppose, and perhaps political resurrection. I think that's a long shot. I think Benjamin Netanyahu is as doomed as the Conservative Party is in Britain or the Democrat Party in America. We're going to see change, and possibly for the better, I would think, in terms of Israel's leadership. In terms of Britain, well, Keir Starmer will renege on the Labour Party commitment to recognize the state of Palestine. That's not an if or but or maybe. He will renege on that, the leader of Britain's Labour Party. Yes, it's interesting to see the Scottish National Party backing calls for a ceasefire. Of course, it has a Muslim leader with relatives in Gaza. Interesting, isn't it, to see Britain with a Muslim leader of the Scottish National Party, Scottish government, yes, and a Hindu prime minister, which proves a lot. It says a lot about the multifaceted nature of Britain today, which actually I find quite heartening. But I'm digressing from the main issue at hand. I am distressed. You are distressed by the war in Gaza. America played it badly. Blinken asking for 500,000 Palestinians to be taken by President Sisi in Sinai. Could he? Well, if he did, he'd probably end up being assassinated by like Sadat. That's asking a lot, because it would be Egypt complicit in the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. Obviously, he refused. He could do little else, and he was probably quite indignant at having been asked. He was put under a huge pressure. I, therefore, see Israel as unable to get rid of the over 2 million. Who knows the population of Gaza? 2.3 million, they say, How they arrive at that, I mean, nobody really knows. Substantial, anyway. Might be considerably more. In an area whose land mass is no greater than less than the size of the Isle of Wight in Britain. I talk about treat people like dogs, they behave like dogs, maybe. Anyway, they've been imprisoned there for, a quarter of a century more, the people of Gaza. Israel is fearful. It's an existential issue, this, when Israel is attacked in this way. And few Arabs remember that. They just stare open-mouthed at their television and at the horror that they see portrayed as women and children are killed. But Israel is a state that hangs by a thread. And it's very important to the world that we have a Jewish state in Israel. And you don't think Palestinians should pay the price for the Holocaust? The Holocaust was an awful crime. An awful, awful crime committed by us in Europe, and for which God forgive us. But two rights don't justify a wrong. No. So what am I going to say? What am I trying to say? What do I want to say to you tonight? Well, it's tonight here when I'm recording this. I'm actually recording this from Iraq, where I am at present, but I'm not talking about Iraq because I'm desperately concerned about Palestine. I want to go back to Gaza. I feel ashamed I haven't been back. My friend LL.D lost his wife and 2 children. I have 4 close friends in Gaza, him, Adil Zanoon, and the other 2 are Hamas, actually. Anyway, Hamas are people. They get more extreme because nobody talks to them. That's one of the crimes of the international community, is to send people to Coventry because it creates greater extremism. We shouldn't even do that to Russia. So what I'm going to tell you, we need a Middle East peace process. We need a Middle East peace process that is vital now. The international community has done nothing of significance, in my view, since the Wye River in 1998 with Clinton. And who were the other 2 participants? Benjamin Netanyahu and Yasser Arafat. Arafat and Netanyahu were the handshakers at that time. But that deal was never fully implemented. We need a peace deal imposed by Israel and the Western world. We're not going to have a negotiated peace. Not unless Israel gets rid of Abu Mazen, as Abu Mazen is too fearful to do a deal. So we need the new Israeli leader, Benny Gantz, if it's Benny Gantz, to do a peace deal, to man up and do a peace deal. And if it can't be negotiated, it must be imposed. Imposed. We can't go on with this any longer. It's enough, enough, enough. Wasting lives, wasting time. Betraying the future of the children of Israel and the children of Palestine. And we, in the West, are complicit in this betrayal because of our lethargy and disgraceful lack of interest in a Middle East peace process. God bless you.